You're listening to the Fringianity Underground Podcast. Fringe topics with a Christian point of view. Now here's your host, Leo Rutledge. Hello. This episode is going to be dedicated to analyzing the strange and mysterious demonic imagery of H.R. Giger and his influences in the world today. And it also will analyze this, because of his artwork has a lot of black, shining, nasty, almost like just this soot over everything. So I'm going to kind of get into this black soot or goo or slime or whatever this is. It sounds funny, but there's this real stuff out there. And that also appears in many movies as well. So I'm going to analyze all of this over the course of this episode. So with that, let's begin the show. H.R. Giger is a dark and deep, almost occult kind of man. He's an artist, a creator, but what he creates is pretty much it's disgusting, it's sexualized, black, demonic, sinister-looking, skeleton-like, machinery-like, almost anotherworldly imagery. The most hell-like creatures and creations that I have personally ever seen. And he's been around for quite a while. But I'm not going to tell you all about that, because I have a little clip coming up here soon that will pretty much tell you from his own words about how he started this and what he does. My point here is that he has influenced lots and lots of people throughout time. I know that the lead singer of the band Korn has had mic stands made in designs of Giger artwork. Blondie has had pictures done with him, the singer from the 70s and 80s, Blondie. He's been around. A lot of famous people have liked his artworks, and a lot of the same people, who would put Aleister Crowley as part of their wisdom and people that they enjoy, same type of people, it seems like. And Aleister Crowley is a major Satanist. He's contributed heavily to the magic and the darkness that all surrounds satanic worship today. Do as thou will comes from him. We should all, he was around in the 20s, and he's contributed heavily to the world. Now, I don't know if H.R. Giger had any knowledge of this guy, but H.R. Giger, he's in Switzerland, and he seems to be a very likable guy in a sense, but very creepy. Very creepy. There's something else behind him. And I almost want to say that he's just a puppet for the devil. In other words, he creates images that he sees that are shown to him from demons or the devil of images of hell. And he captures that. I have read some stuff about he had a wife one time that committed suicide. She couldn't handle the darkness behind his artwork. And there's just so much there's so much darkness behind him. And these images, the images speak for themselves. The images. When you see the images that he creates, you will instantly see why I call this a dark, dark episode. The images are pornographic in some ways. They're very evil. I'll put it that way. And there's an essence. If you're a Christian, you will pick up a very, very evil feeling. If you have any senses at all, you will pick up a vibe of something very dark. And that's just the imagery that he makes. And it's covered, everything that he does, all these images seem to be covered in this black soot, this black tar, this black nasty goo or whatever. And it's almost like, it's just everything's all shiny and black and in this dark, somber, gross kind of hell. And he mixes it with like sexual images of women and sexual images of all this twisted stuff, like just the most twisted stuff. I don't even want to use words to describe some of these things. On the YouTube edition of this show, you're probably seeing it right now. There's images that it's just going to blow your mind. The only reason I am bringing this up is because this guy has contributed to Alien, Aliens, and Alien Part 3. He's been contributed to the movie Species. He's like the creative artist that's behind all of these things. And he does a lot of dark work. And aside from that, even as I'm going to get into later in this episode, I have found out that he contributed, or he's inspired artists who make video games now. So now you can literally play video games that literally takes from this guy, so that now you can actually go into a video game and experience these places that H.R. Giger created in his mind. And these places are so torturous and sickening and disgusting that I cannot personally even watch very much of these clips from these people showing off the games. It's so disgusting and so torture. It's just satanic. You're literally seeing hell. You're literally seeing the darkest reaches of hell when you're seeing these clips from these video games. But I'm not going to get into that yet. For now, I'm just going to play you the clip of H.R. Giger when he was alive and what he was doing and about his museum and his artwork. And it's kind of a happy-go-lucky kind of video. So if it sounds upbeat, it's because the interviewer really put this into, it's kind of laughable, like everything's at the bar, kind of like, oh, I'm hanging out with H.R. Giger, it's all fun. And it sounds great, but you have to see the images, and you'll know what I'm talking about.
H.R. Giger, the father of the popular sci-fi movie Alien, is native to Switzerland. And here in Gruyere, located in the Gothic castle, the H.R. Giger Museum showcases his biomechanical artwork on permanent display. Giger's work varies from paintings, sculptures, furniture, and film designs from the early 1960s until present day. But the real treasure opposite the museum is the H.R. Giger Museum Bar. Let's check it out. I'm in the H.R. Giger Bar sipping a cup of alien coffee. This place really feels like you're in the inside of some prehistoric beast with fossilized vertebrae crisscrossing the ceiling and alien chairs that look like they're from the creature itself. If you're anywhere in the town of Gruyere, you have to make this a stop on your list. It's really a must-see.
I'm industrial designer. I learned that, and furniture also, and so I'm fascinated about vertebrae, about bones and these things. And Dan O'Banion wrote the script of Alien, and I was demanded to do this alien creature, and so I had to invent a creature who looked a little scary, and yeah. So I have here the museum, H.R. Giger, and the bar, and also a gallery for other artists. Soon I got in love with this place. I liked it so much, and I I had the occasion to buy this building, this old, it's a part of the castle, yes. And I found that could be a wonderful place to have my babies, my paintings here.
Your name is?
My name is GIGER, HR GIGER, and I have here the museum, HR GIGER, and the bar, and also a gallery for other artists.
Why did you decide to put this here?
Yeah, that accidentally, I don't know. I had my first show in the chateau, on the top of the hill. It was in 1990 that I found this place, and they invited me to have a show, and soon I got in love with this place. I liked it so much, and then after a few years, I had the occasion to buy this building, this old, it's a part of the castle, yes. And I found that could be a wonderful place to have my babies, my paintings here. And so it happened. And since 1998, we have, Carmen and I, we have this museum, and I'm very happy to have that. And I mean, that was always something I was looking for. And the bar, I finally, a little later on, I made the design for the bar and everything. And so I think we still can do something. I don't know. They want here to do a fountain, perhaps of me, I have one in Zurich, a fountain. Could be a...
For people who've never been here, what is this bar? What is it?
Yeah, sometimes people think that that's something to be horrified or so, but I don't think so. Everybody who comes here, they like it, and they feel comfortable and good. And
is this supposed to be what, the inside of a creature?
I don't know. It could be inside of something like a skeleton or something, or vertebrae or whatever it has. I'm fascinated about vertebrae, about bones and these things, and yeah.
How did you get the idea for the alien creature and the vertebrae? How did that?
Yeah, that was a demand. I mean, that was a film had to be done, and Dan O'Banion wrote the script of Alien, and I was demanded to do this alien creature, and so I had to invent a creature who looked a little scary, and yeah. So it came.
Do you have any inspiration for that, or?
I don't know. I'm industrial designer. I learned that, and furniture also, and so, and then, that was very normal. It came like that. Later on, I was doing my art. I'm doing my paintings, and.
So people who've never been here.
Yeah.
Why would they want to come and visit? Say.
Yeah. I mean, if I have some people they want to see my work, then I send them to Gruyère. It's the French part of Switzerland, and.
Can you tell me your name, please, and spell your last name?
Yeah, my name is Carmen, and I'm Swiss Spanish, so it's Scheifele de Vega, but now married to him since almost 4 years now.
4 years. How did you two meet?
Well, a long time ago. It's about 22 years ago through a friend of ours. Yeah,
okay.
But we knew each other for 10 years before we started something. Or
And did you know about the alien movies and all that when you met?
Well, I had a poster at the age of 17, but I never knew who it was, who had painted it. And then many years later, I got to know him, and I realized, and yeah, but no, I just loved that poster, but really wasn't too much interested in getting to know a bit more then, from...
What did you think of the work when you came and saw all this?
I love it.
What did you think of it? What do you like best about it?
Well, I mean, the spell is, of course, the temple. Yeah, it's, I think his main work. and the picture from Emerson, Lake and Palmer, which I had as a poster.
Her initial thing, yeah.
Yeah, the first I got to know from brain salad surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah, you must know it. It's a woman like this, and it was a double cover. You know, it had like a death skull, and then you could open it, and then there was this very, very famous picture.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I mean, it's really difficult because he has so many directions. You know, I mean, it's pretty difficult to say which one you like best.
So, are there exhibits that travel around Europe, and where would people find these?
Yeah, now we have one in San Sebastian. But it's always like really major exhibitions in museums, like we had it in Paris, in Prague, in Spain, in Vienna, and yeah, it's just, and Frankfurt, in the film museum in Frankfurt. So it's just traveling. It's always changing a bit the what is inside the exhibition. But
and what sort of reaction do people see when they first see the work? I mean, what kinds of responses do they get?
Well, many people already know the work when they come into the museum, but what is fascinating to see is that some women, they really don't like it when they see it in the books, you know, but as soon as they are in the museum, it changes. I don't know whether it's because, I was thinking perhaps it's because of the light, because the museum is dark, so you see more the bright parts of the pictures, yeah, which is the female usually, and the female is very majestically done, yeah. So it's usually, they really start to see the beauty in his work, less than the horror that is the most palpable thing when you see it.
Do you have a favorite alien of all the ones that he's created?
Well, number one.
Number
yeah.
one. Okay.
Sure, yeah.
One final question for Mr. Giger. Do they mostly come at night? Mostly.
Yeah.
Okay.
They come to the museum.
Yeah, mostly at night.
Okay, so that's H.R. Giger, and that's him talking about his museum and all his art and his high-class society where he, satanic artwork and satanic imagery and pretty much hell is celebrated in kind of a cool barroom kind of way with high society where everybody just like, it's cool, it's just artwork, it's invigorating. It's got a lot of sexual tones, or women are being used in strange and sexual ways, and even little children in some way, some of the pictures, and very pornographic kind of imagery all over the place. But whatever, we don't see that. We just see the beauty in this dark, pitch black, nasty looking imagery. So anyway, with that, I'm going to get into this black stuff, this black goo, and I'll play a little clip of something I found on YouTube. I'm not sure if everything that they talk about here is actually fact. I'll leave that up to you. Research this, please. But I do know that this stuff has rained on cities, and also the monuments in D.C. seem to have this black stuff growing on them now. And I don't know if that's tied to this black goo, but it's very creepy. And also, halfway through this episode, I took a break and I went off and did some stuff and listened to Justin Fall from the Fourth Watch, and he actually had an episode which is ironic on this black goo. He had talked about this black goo slightly, not very much, but slightly. So it's ironic how we're all kind of thinking the same way. And he's another Christian podcaster, so I would definitely advise checking that out. So anyway, I'm going to get into this black goo. I'm going to play you a clip of this analysis of it and strangeness behind this.
It was the world's most mysterious substance. It's living, intelligence, demonic, and it's a living crystal, which is also found in rainwater in Germany. The water was examined and found to contain this black goo. the biggest deposit in the earth is found in Paraguay. It must be more than coincidence that the Bush family has bought acreage of land there to build their villa. And even more freaky is the fact that Angela Merkel, the Chancellor of Germany, has bought land to build her villa right next to the Bush's villas in the Paraguay deposit of the Black Goo area. Very strange indeed. Also, this black goo seems to be living. When it's kept in a box, it seems to be asleep. It's silent. It's like a little hamster that's sleeping. You can see it's alive because of the way it's somehow moving. When you have two boxes in the same room, they seem to feel the presence of each other, and they strive to reach each other. If they cannot reach each other, they start shaking the box, trying to get one to the other, to come close to each other. They're liquid crystals, and they seem to have intelligence. This black goo has been found in the rainwater of Germany. This is black goo crystal extracted from World War II SS black stones. These are the black stones that are very similar to black stones that have been used in pagan rituals, in even the black stone that is found in the Kaaba in Mecca. In the past, these black stones were used by witches, pagans. Human sacrifice was performed on them, infant sacrifice on these black stones. And one such stone, as we said before, is located in the Kaaba in Mecca, where Muslims have pledged to make at least one trip in their lifetime to the Kaaba.
So that's this mysterious black goo that I was talking about. Now, I don't think that I'm not sure if this black goo is really tied really to anything that H.R. Giger was doing, but it seemed like there's always this slimy, black, sooty, gooey stuff on everything. Like Alien. If you watch the movie Alien, in every one of them, there's always this black slime that just is caked on everything. It's just this goo. And it's just this... It just adds to the scariness of the situation. And it's almost like this slime from hell. But getting into movies and stuff that have been affected with this, I mean, there's movies with this black goo in it. The movie The X-Files, the first X-Files movie, has a boy. He falls in some kind of a hole. He breaks through something into this hole. And then he looks up and you see this black goo go to his feet, and then all of a sudden you see it go up his body, basically under his skin, and then it goes into his eyes, and his eyes turn pitch black. And then at the beginning of the movie Prometheus, the recent, not too long ago, this film came out. At the very beginning of it, the engineer, which is an alien, supposedly, according to that movie, our creators, were on this earth before the humans, and one of them takes this little cup with this black goo in it, and he drinks it, and it dissolves his body, and he falls into the river and the water, and just basically kind of hinting that his DNA became us, you know, kind of thing. And so that's kind of strange. And then also the movie Lucy with Scarlett Johansson also has this... She basically turns into a black goo kind of computer, like transhumanism kind of thing, where anything that she thinks is literally becomes a reality kind of thing. It's really creepy. And that also kind of gets into this, it's like the computer mind or something, the world mind or something that she bonds with. It's really creepy stuff. And also recently, Star Trek Beyond even has this black goo in it that actually will like destroy everything that everyone's going to breathe in, and it just dissolves them. But also, like Spider-Man had Venom, this character, this comic book character that was basically this slime that went up your body and it made you have powers like Spider-Man and stuff, and it basically became a symbiosis like suit that was over his body, and it's the black Spider-Man costume. But it was alive, and it basically turned into this demonic kind of creature. and he tried to get it off. He's pulling it off, and it's going back on. It's in the third Spider-Man, the original, the first 3 Spider-Man movies at the third movie. It's not the best movie, but it's in it. And that's Venom. And, I mean, the name Venom, I mean, think about that. It's obvious that it's a dark, not such a good thing. But it's there. I mean, and then this black goo rain that has happened in the past. It's just all these things. And even back in the 80s, I remember a movie called Night of the Creeps. Yeah, maybe I'm just getting old or something, but I remember this movie that... It's called Night of the Creeps, and there was these little black slimy things, and they would go down people's throats, and they'd turn them into zombies, basically. And also the movie, the Blob, even. Now that wasn't a black thing, but it was a slimy, ancient thing that supposedly had been around since the dawn of time, and it basically was toxic, like acid. And it would just eat people. And it's kind of similar to what, like Star Trek Beyond, this black stuff that would literally eat people alive. And it keeps going back. It reminds me of that Prometheus movie. Because in that movie, there's several points where this black stuff is in a canister, and just one drop is like, it's alive. And it's very creepy. Now that I have basically told you about this black goo, I'm going to really tie it all together now, because this black goo it seems like dread, living dread. That's the way it sounds to me. So it goes on now to be, H.R. Giger created all this artwork and all this imagery, right? And now people have taken that and they've made it into their own kind of thing. But it still looks like the H.R. Giger type of artwork. And now that we have technology, there's video game designers that have gotten a hold of this and basically built a world around this. And now there's video games that are coming out. There's 2 of them that I've found that just sicken me. I can't even watch through these videos completely. I just can't. It's so disgusting and gross, and it's just like you're in hell. I mean, the deepest pits of hell. Not just like, little devils and no. This is like disgusting internal guts and gore and demons and babies being murdered, kind of just the most sickest stuff. And this is in video games now. The recent Doom video game that came out, yeah, I know, Doom. We all know that that's not exactly the most, heavenly Christian type of game. But the recent one, the newest one, is so realistic that I can't even imagine playing this game. I've watched videos. It was on Conan even. Conan O'Brien. They had them playing the video game on there. It's insane. And it's like people don't connect and go, holy crap, this is too real, It's like it's like they're desensitized, and that's what they are. They're clearly desensitized to this stuff. So what happens is now these computer games, or these, I don't know if they're computer games, I think they're either Xbox One or PlayStation 4 games, but they're basically the most evil type of games. The game that I'm going to talk about here first is the game Agony. That's what it's called. I don't know if it's PC, Xbox One, or PlayStation 4. All I know is it's a playable thing. And you can watch a video of it on YouTube. It's very disgusting. I'm not kidding you. Some of the images are disgusting. You will not believe these images, that this is in a video game. And you're literally walking through hell. And it's so evil and disgusting. It's dread. It's just torturous. It makes perfect sense why the game is called Agony. And there's just the most horrible things. It's like there's no hope. And that's basically what the game does. It takes away your hope. It takes away you're just immersed in this world. And it looks like it's going to be a VR game eventually too. That's the way I think I've seen an image of it becoming a VR thing. So I can't imagine somebody putting virtual reality on and actually immersing their whole body into this. But that's where the beast wants us. The beast wants us immersed in his world. And then the next game is called Scorn, and it's an exact duplicate. Like, basically, it's exactly a creation of H.R. Giger's alien kind of world, and it's basically made a reality. You're walking, and everything is just goo. It's just this nasty, sooty, dirty, dark, and grayish, blackish, shiny black, dark environments with, like, guts, kind of, it's like a first-person shooter. And the gun in it is even kind of, it looks like some kind of rib cage, kind of, it's just disgusting. And there's corridors, and there's, like, things dying in the corridors, like dead whatever creatures of some sort, and they're just like tortuously dying slowly, like sickened, like poisoned, and it just keeps going and going and going and going. And it's just this dimly lit world where you never actually see the sunlight really. It's all cloudy darkness, just dread. And this is a game called Scorn. I don't know when these games come out. I don't know what's going on. Maybe they're going to be virtual reality games. I don't know. But they're working on them. And these things are a reality. These are things that young adults, kids, I'm sure they'll be rated mature. But still, that's young adults. People will be able to play these things. This is where Satan is taking us. This is the world he wants us to live in. And that's where we're going. I mean, I can't believe that the things I've seen when I looked up this stuff. And it all began with H.R. Giger and his disgusting envisions of hell, which I believe was placed into his head by demons. I honestly think so. I don't see how there's nothing godly in it. In fact, it's void of anything good. And it's just disgusting. I first heard of H.R. Giger when I think I was like 16 or 17. I remember there was a bookstore. And I went to this bookstore and I used to look through all the art books because I used to be a painter. I used to do paintings and really abstract kind of stuff and try to mimic other artists that were very dark, and because I wasn't a Christian and it was really dark and creepy stuff I used to try to mimic. And of course I was into Marilyn Manson and stuff like that back then, and just twisted stuff. And I know I was wrong, whatever. But of course I wasn't a Christian. I wasn't a full-blown one. I knew of Jesus, but I didn't know quite the whole thing, you know. And I just remember I found this H.R. Giger book. And I just remember, because back then I thought, oh, all artwork is just, you know, it's just a tool. It's not really evil, you know, inherently. So I never thought of any kind of artwork as evil. But I remember I picked up this big, thick, black book with H.R. Giger's artwork on it for the first time, and I seen it, and I thought, oh my God, this is the guy who created Alien. So that's the first thing I thought. I'm like, oh, I like the Alien movies. Those are scary, you know. And then I opened the book up. And the more I looked, and I paged through this book, in this bookstore, I was more and more disgusted. And I was not really a good Christian at that time. I wasn't really a Christian at all. And the more I looked through it, the more I got this feeling of darkness, dread, just the most evilest, satanic, just evil. And it was a spirit of darkness. Now that I've gotten older and I've realized that Christ is the only light of the world and the only Savior that we have, the only chance we have to get out of this darkness in this world, now that I know all that, I look back and I go, oh my God, I was feeling the spirit of darkness come over me. I was seeing literally hell, it just coming into my eyes, like through the gates of my eyes. And it was opening up. Just looking at these pictures, there's so much content in one picture that you can't take it all in. It's like almost pornography. It's almost like demonic drawings of devils and creatures that you could never imagine. And I mean, also the band Tool. I gotta admit this too. When I was younger, there was a band called Tool, and I'm sure they're still around. But they had these videos, and they used H.R. Giger type of artwork in these videos. And there's always these alienish, kind of dark, creepy creatures, like the movie Alien, and it was always this weird and strange stuff. And it was just the creepiest, weirdest, left you without a soul kind of imagery. And it was just so dark. But getting to the point here is, this is probably, to me, this is the hardest topic to cover. This is H.R. Giger. Because to me, it's like blotting your soul out from God's sight. To just really to look at this stuff. It's so disgusting to me. And I'm not doing this to scare anyone. And I'm not doing this to bring fear or anything to anybody. I'm doing this to expose this, because this is the future. This is not the past. This is going to be the future of what Satan is leading our world to be. It says in the end times that the world will be darkened, and it will be so black and dark that the sky will be blacked out, or the sun will be blotted out. It will be so dark, and that there will be creatures on the earth that literally men's hearts will fail them from fear of these things that are coming on the earth. And it also talks about these things that sting you in the end times, that come up out of the abyss. And it also talks about men wishing that they could die, but death flees from them. This is in the end times. This is what will happen. And a third of the earth will be destroyed. I mean, that's humans, that's wiped out. And I just know that these elites that are running the world have an agenda for depopulation and wars and endless wars and pestilence and all this, and just sicknesses, people dying from sickness, all of this stuff. The end result, I mean, above all the election stuff, this is the end. This is the end-all, be-all. The goal is to completely cast this world into complete darkness. And when I look at this H.R. Giger stuff, I start to go, oh my God, this is going to be the future. These creatures that are in that book could be the creatures that come out of the abyss. Because I don't believe that these ideas just came to his head, I'm going to create these bizarre, twisted creatures. No, I think he was being shown hell. And I believe that he is showing you the things that want to come up out of the ground. And this black goo could be the beginning. I don't know. I'm not trying to make a good episode of science fiction here that's really creepy. I'm actually trying to tell you that the end result that Satan has, the end game, is so dark, it's so black, that we will not want to be on the earth. We will wish that we were not on the earth in this time. But also, now that I've told you about all this darkness, I want you to know that Jesus Christ is the only way out of this. It says in Matthew 16:25, "For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my name's sake shall find it." It's talking about Jesus' name's sake. "And the least of these shall be the greatest of these in the end." So the most humble, the most kind, the most peaceful, those who make peace, those who help the poor and do all the things in Jesus, who believe in Jesus, will be rewarded. In the darkest time, there will be this light. And that's the most wonderful thing, is in all of this darkness, all of this sickness that I've talked about, when the world is blackened and darkened out, and there's no light, it says that Jesus will be seen all across the sky when he comes. Every eye will see him. The world has to be pitch black in order for that to happen. Every eye will see him coming in the clouds. So that means there's going to be great darkness. But what he will bring is a new heaven and a new earth. But you have to believe in Jesus Christ. You have to believe that Jesus was the Son of God, and that he came down into a human body and died on a cross and was risen from the dead after that. and went back into heaven to make a place for his people, the ones who believed in him. And I believe in this more than ever before, just from the things I've seen in the past couple years even. The more I see, the more darkness I see in this world, the more I know that the light is totally real. And these evil people in this world that want darkness and destruction, they're fighting because they know that Jesus, it's only a matter of time, that Jesus, before he comes, and they cannot win the battle. The battle is already won. And Jesus is sitting outside of time. And when this all ends, he will be the one who won. So I know I've talked about a lot of dark stuff here. I mean, this was a hard episode for me. And the images are just so dark and so evil. But in the end, after we expose the works of darkness, as the Bible tells us to, there is always the light. The light always exposes the darkness. And when the light comes, the darkness flees from it. And the same goes for when Jesus, the light of the world, comes. So that's what we need to be looking for, is Jesus Christ, the Son of God, the only one who's the mediator in heaven between heaven and man. And he is the only way. It's the only way. Straight is the gate, and narrow is the way that leadeth unto life, and few there be to find it. Few there be that find it. The road to life. So please, after all this darkness and all of this stuff I exposed, I'm trying to point out that get on the narrow path that leads to life, not to death. So with that, that's all I have for you on this episode. Also, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and also please leave reviews on iTunes or Spreaker or wherever you hear this. Thank you. Thank you for checking this out. If you enjoy this show, please feel free to share it. You can find us on Spreaker, iTunes, and most podcatchers. And if you'd like to support the show, please leave a review on iTunes or Spreaker or wherever you find this show. And for more information on this show, go to the Fringianity Underground podcast Facebook group and like us. Images will be posted there for this show and others as well. Please check Spreaker or wherever you get this podcast every Sunday evening for new episodes. And thank you for listening.